finally have like a week and a half before the next event to like
Oh
chill.
wow, yeah. That was gonna be my first question is if you're gonna take some time off from Yu-Gi-Oh or if you're gonna keep playing.
A little bit, I took like 3 weeks off. Like we'll call that a
Yeah.
break.
Would you say like after winning Worlds, has your approach to the game changed at all or is it
I mean,
similar?
like, for this year, a little bit. I definitely like more at ease. Like I don't have to stress about like qualifying for Worlds, obviously. So like there's not like kind of that person on your back being like, ah, you got to keep going to more. But then like there's that other goal of just like seeing people like Chris and Jesse keep winning and like have so many wins and like trying to catch up to that. So there's like the sides of like not feeling a lot of pressure, but like still wanting to compete and try and like achieve other goals in the game.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And it's cool to be able to do that like alongside of them. Like you can practice with them, but also like try to reach for their goals that they've achieved already too, which is cool. Do you remember any key moments that you can think of like along your journey that you think were like turning points of when you kind of like realized or like kicked it in um, to like go for worlds?
Yeah, so like after the our second win like in Costa Rica, I was like in a good spot, like points wise. So like I was like incentivized to go because it'd be like a disservice to like be so close and not like try. Like the year before I was like decently close, like in top 50 without even like trying whatsoever. So I was like, if I put a little bit of effort, I could probably do it. And like I was in top 20 just from like doing 3 or 4 events. I'm like, okay, like there's a reason to like try, like I'm in contention. But there was like a lot of people working like really hard as well to like get there. So it wasn't like as easy of just like, okay, put in a little bit of effort. It was more of
Oh
like
yeah.
I put in a lot and go to like an event every weekend and just like hoping things work out in your favor in the end.
Yeah, yeah. I was watching your interview after Worlds where you're talking about your friend motivating you in May because you were thinking of like giving up, which is crazy to like think about now. But I guess that's just like a testament to the community and how like powerful that can be. Um, would you say like that kind of like team bonding is like essential and helped you like get to where you did?
Oh, for sure. Like I talk about this a lot and I think it's like very evident after like my Worlds run this year. Like I don't treat the game like an individual game. Like it's very like team oriented, even though like you play by yourself. It's like the preparation and like being ready for a tournament, testing and like all of the knowledge of the game. Like you can't do all of that by yourself. Like it's not feasible to like learn all of it and like understand all these niches. So like everyone kind of brings something to the table in like our testing group. And that's how like everyone gets better as a whole instead of like one person improving. It's like everyone's getting better as long as someone's improving, which is a really nice thing.
Yeah. You did something unique this year that we don't see a lot of players do. You got second place in Brazil, and then you didn't publish a deck list until Indianapolis, which was like a month. How did that feel? Were people constantly like messaging you for it or?
Yeah, so that was like actually a really funny thing. So like leading up to Brazil, we all thought we were just gonna play like a standard Snake Eye deck, and like Kamal was busy playing Pokemon because he like qualified for Pokemon World, so he was grinding really hard on that. So like no one wanted to listen to my crazy ideas, and I kept saying, guys, read the Light Fairies. Like these cards are really, really good. And like no one wanted to like give any attention to them. So I'm like, fine, I guess we're just gonna play Snake Eye. Like I'm not gonna put any extra testing. And then like the day before, Kamal goes, all right, fine. Like I can listen now that we're like here in Brazil. Like show me what you're talking about. So immediately pull up my phone, like pull up the little combo video that like I had seen, and I'm like, all right, this is what like I think we can do, but we can make it better. And he's like, all right, how do we make it better? And then Hani started talking about it, and we like came up with this list. And I'm like, this just gives you like an edge. Like we started playing against like the pure Snake Eye deck, and it just didn't even feel close in a lot of points. So I was like, okay, this deck feels like really good. And then after going like essentially undefeated because I made it to the finals with only a draw, and that draw was winnable if it wasn't for like some judge call that we didn't get a time extension for that is irrelevant now. But my only loss being in the finals, I felt fairly confident that the deck was like really strong. And in a format where we felt that there was no edge to be like gained because all the deck lists were so standard, I felt like it was the right time to like not share deck lists. And I've a lot of people that are close to me know this. Like, I don't care to put out a deck list. I don't feel like it's impactful. A lot of people can just like look at a picture and be like, all right, I'm going to copy this. And I don't think that's enough to like be good with the deck or like do well or like have it have like purpose. I think the reason to like see a deck profile is to like ask questions and like understand why a card is played that way. And a lot of people don't want to watch a video explaining 20, 30, 40 minutes of that. So like I rather just like not do a deck profile and it's fine. I'm not going to sit there and teach someone to play Yu-Gi-Oh. And if they want to like learn to
Yeah.
play Yu-Gi-Oh, they can like come and talk to me and I can explain it like one-on-one in an easier way than just being in a video and being like, all right, this, and this, because I don't know what a person understands, what like principles they know like off basis. Like if I have to teach any of them or if they're at like a certain level where I can just be like, well, this makes sense because of this math and like going off of this theory. So like
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at that point it kind of like does them a disservice too, because it's like if they don't understand what they're playing, like the deck, like it's not gonna seem like good to them, like in the way that you use it.
yeah, for sure. And it also like it allowed a lot of people to get creative with the deck. Since I didn't put out the deck list, there was a lot of people being like, oh, I saw him play this card, or I heard him ask for this card, or like I heard this was on his end board. And it was like a lot of things. And I'm like, okay, cool. People are like starting to piece together. And I'm like, well, you still don't know the combo, even if you know like what my end board is looking like. And then every weekend it was someone asking me at a regional, hey, so like what's your list or what's your combo or what's your end board? And I'm like, yeah, they're like I just kind of like shrug and I'm like, I'm just playing Snake Eye Cash. You know, I pull out my deck out my deck box. I was just regional grinding with like a regular like Snake Eye deck. So I'm like, this is my list, this is my combo. You know, I do what you do, Appaloosa, you know, sometimes hope and everything. And everyone's like frustrated that I wouldn't talk about it. And I'm just like, I feel like that's a part of Yu-Gi-Oh that like got left behind, like just keeping information just because it's the most valuable resource we have. And of course, like with the technology available to us, like information just spreads like wildfire. So if
Oh
you're
yeah.
able to keep something like that that you think gives you an advantage under wraps, like especially for multiple events, because I think you definitely try to do it because I don't think that's happened really in the game for the last couple of years where a deck has been kept under wraps even though it made it to the finals for like a whole month to the next event, and hopefully that
Yeah.
will keep happening. To be honest with you, because um, the less information is shared, I feel like the more skill expression happens in the game.
Yeah, it's honest, it's true. Um, Speaking of Pokemon, we see a lot of people doing two games now or leaving Yu-Gi-Oh! To play other games. Do any games interest you or just now like you're just focused on Yu-Gi-Oh?
I mean, my life is like pretty busy with work already, so juggling another card game would be pretty hard, especially considering I am going to be attending Worlds next year, so like I don't want to just put Yu-Gi-Oh off to the side for something else. I've said this before, I play the game for like the enjoyment of it, the glory of it. Like
Yeah.
the prizing is very much the incentive for other people to switch card games. And I fully understand that like I'm not going to tell someone what to do and what not to do and like what to them feels right. But to me, I don't think you should be playing a card game for like monetary incentives. Like that's cool. It's nice to get rewarded for it, obviously, but I don't think that should be the main driving force. Like it's a hobby. Like to begin with, I like to compare it to golf at times. Like golf is a very expensive hobby. Like you got to pay for tee
Yeah.
time, pay for clubs. A lot of times you have to pay for lessons to begin with, and it takes years to be good at it. So that's the way I look at it. You don't see any people like at the epitome of their sport or their hobby just like do well and be like, all right, I'm done with this. They try and kind of like follow that stride. So I think I'll be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a good analogy to relate it to golf. Like it makes a lot of sense that way. And yeah, like you shouldn't be doing it for monetary reasons. You can just like gamble or do other things if like that's what you're into. But um, how did you prepare mentally and physically for the high stakes of worlds? Were you feeling confident or were you excited? Like, or were you a little bit nervous?
I mean, like anyone, there's obviously like a mixture of excitement and nerves like going into the event. Like anyone that like truly believes that they can win and want to win, like you have to tell yourself you're going to win, like the whole time. So there's that level of confidence where it's like, I have to tell myself that even if I don't know it, so I can make it happen. Definitely times like leading up to the tournament where I felt more nervous than others, just like through testing, feeling a little less confident with decks, feeling more confident, and then having that like built up confidence be like smashed down because of like one poor day of testing, and like kind of just making sure I don't react instantaneously. It's just like one day of testing, and that was honestly like a big thing. I think for our testing group, we took every like lesson, every game, every like instance with like a grain of salt, and we're like, okay, but like does this happen often enough to like warrant us changing a deck decision because of this? And I think that like made me feel more confident where like I did everything I could to prepare. So by the time like they said we can begin, it's like, all right, I've done everything in my power to prepare. It was meant to win this tournament for me, like I'm gonna do it. And if it's not,
Nice.
it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, that's great. After winning, how is the community reaction been? I've been seeing some positive things on Facebook, but I didn't know you saw like the whole scope of it. Do you think there's any added pressure or is it more just like support?
I felt like a lot of love and support, not even like after the win, just like doing well throughout the tournament. Like a lot of people sending messages because obviously like throughout the stream they talk about like how people are doing. So like a lot of like cheerful messages and support like during day one, and especially like when I went on a little skid and went from 3-0 to 3-3. A lot of people telling me to just like focus up for the last round and just like see what happens. Like a couple messages of people being like, Polly made it in X3, don't stress about it. You have good tiebreakers. And like that really like kind of helped me get in the zone, especially like a message from Paulie just telling me like, hey, don't stress about it. Like X3 made it in for last year. And I was like, you're right. I'm just gonna try and be like you, like step into the shoes like you left. And like I was lucky enough that I did it, making it in X3 is hard enough as it is. I think there was like X3s up until 13th or 14th place. So like only two of us made it. I said it, I got lucky and I won two of my die rolls in Top Cut, like two of the important ones. And Tempai just made me start twice. So like, yeah, there's some level of skill, but there's also like a big element of luck to it. And I think the community as a whole definitely like gave me a lot of support. Everyone seemed to be like happy I won, and a lot of people I've heard say like I'm a very deserving champion, and obviously that's not something that like you want to go to your head. It just like it feels nice that a lot of people have like realized the work I've put in, even if they haven't immediately been there, because it's been like a grind, and the people close to me know how much I care about the game and how much like doing well and not doing well. Not that like it impacts my mental. It's just like I take it to heart, like especially when I do poorly on my own fruition. And I'm glad I was able to like reap the benefits of like putting in the work this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're very deserving, and I was really happy too. I was like in the room with my dad. He was like tears falling. So we were both very happy and proud of you, and very humbled too. Just very happy for you. So that's good. I'm glad you've been getting the support you deserve. I know you talked a little bit about these other goals that you are going to. What like opportunities or goals are you striving for this coming season?
So I want to prepare as best as possible for Worlds, obviously. There's only been one two-time champion with Shunsuke, and he did it back to back. It'd be nice to be able to at least tie that, and then we can look forward to breaking that if possible. So that's like my next immediate goal. It also ties in with no country has ever won the World Championship 3 years in a row. The US tied Japan by doing it twice this year, but they did it with the same
Oh,
person with Shunsuke. So it'd be really cool for us to break that record as well and win three in a row. So that's another one of my goals. Still eluding that single YCS victory. So hopefully that also comes soon this year. Winning worlds before winning a singles YCS is definitely an interesting thing.
that's crazy. Yeah.
But
Oh my goodness.
also maybe getting, that last 1/3 of a YCS win with some friends could also be pretty fun. Just so I stop hearing the 2/3 joke. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Three
and
out of three.
yeah, I'm glad my finals ratio is now positive. So the goal is also to like leave it that way. Did not like being at an even split. It was nice when we were up. So planning to keep it up for now. Those are the like immediate goals. Definitely want to try and win more events. Got a lot to work towards to catch up to like Jesse and Chris before I can be like I want to have the most wins. But definitely at some point, hopefully that's an achievable goal.
Nice. Yeah. Looking back to your younger self, what advice would you give him starting out in the competitive scene, or are you glad you took the path that you did to get to where you are?
Honestly, everything happens for a reason. So, like you said, kind of glad things worked out. I'd kind of just like nudge him in the right direction of like how things were. Not really give any like life-changing advice or anything. Just like stick to the path. Things are gonna work out. I feel like that's something that I live my life by. Like now, just like things work out for a reason. Things happen for a reason. So like, don't stress too much about it in the short run. You may not know the effects of it in the long run. And I think that like applies to a lot of like younger duelist Ruben, like not understanding like a lot of the like failures and shortcomings at the beginning and understanding like you learn from each one of them and you'll never have like one of those like huge failures happen to you again as long as you learn from it. And you can only learn from so many until you start succeeding. So
Yeah, like you described it earlier, like even if it's like a bad day in testing or a bad day in a tournament, like you just, brush it off, learn from it and move forward. Like I think that's definitely like the best attitude to take for sure. Winning worlds is a dream for many. What would you say to players striving to that level of success? I know that you're also looking to go back to back, but for other people who are learning to, or wanting to grow and reach that point, what advice would you give them?
Um, I'll say it again. Play with your friends. It's really important. We've stressed this like our testing group all year. We remote duel all the time. We're on Discord all the time. Like it's a very like non-negotiable thing about like we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh constantly. And whether it's like two people are playing, four people are playing, or it's like one person playing like on one of the like digital platforms versus like a computer or random, and it's like we're all giving our input. Like those small like increments of like lessons you learn throughout the games, even if you're not playing them. Like we call it being on the sticks. Even if you're not on the sticks, like you're still constantly learning. And I think that's like a really important lesson that like a lot of people should like take away. I'm a student of the game. I watch YouTube and like I read articles and read content of like old Yu-Gi-Oh, new Yu-Gi-Oh, like everything that's relevant. I think that's really important just to like understand rogue decks, and that's something that like on a basic level, a lot of people try to like dismiss, like understanding all the random and niche things in Yu-Gi-Oh because it's already a niche in and of itself. I think will get you a lot further than trying to like no life a single deck or trying to like optimize one specific thing. It's like trying to optimize everything at once because as a whole you'll make yourself better instead of like being really good at one thing in the game.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. That's all the questions I had for today, but thanks for coming on again and sharing a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of teasing out for this coming year. Thank you, Ruben.
Of course, thank you for having me.